Hello and welcome back to Stranded Deep. We find ourselves once again in the cartographer. We have our world here at this 5x5 grid of islands, and the one in red is actually our current home island called Homeworld. Now I'm thinking we need to actually give it a little bit of love, because when we made this is one of the first islands that we made, but we've learnt quite a lot since doing that. So I'm thinking we could apply all the knowledge that we've gained along the journey and come up with a nice island, a kind of chilled island to go home to build a house, to build farms and various bits and pieces. So what we're going to do is hit create an island in the bottom left. And now this is different to the last episode that I made, because there have been some changes in the world. This island here, it actually looks like a really decent base for an island, like a decent starting off point. We've got this large area of shallows here, we've got a large area of sand and a bit of grass. Now we know if I hit objects to get rid of the brush, we know that the grass, this grassy texture, will have grass sprites on it, so that's kind of cool. And then there'll be some rocks placed around by the game engine, and then in the sea there will be things like seaweed and various bits and pieces. Actually under here there's been some changes to the way the map editor works, because the sea is a little bit more dynamic. I might be mistaken, but it looks like the sea is a little bit more dynamic, so that's kind of cool. But the main change since last time we looked at the map editor is, if we turn the sea off, here we go, boop, is that the islands now have this very, very smooth curve from the very edge of the island all the way up. So that's kind of interesting. I don't know how well sharks are going to be able to navigate that. If we take an object straight away, if we find, it's an item. No, I think it's a structure. Take a structure, take a shipwreck, take shipwreck 3A, which is this kind of the standard shipwreck. Pop it down there. Quickly turn the sea on again. Boop. There we go. It doesn't look like it's going to be too bad, actually. And then I'll turn the ocean off again, and then we'll go up, find animals, and take our friend, the tiger shark. So we take our friend, the tiger shark, put the tiger shark there, and yeah, I think the tiger shark will actually get fairly close to land. Let's do this. Let's display the ocean. Oh, absolutely it will. Yeah. So we go, boop. No, we can't. We need to be back on objects. There we go. And we can move the object up, and we can move it across. Oh yeah, no, that's absolutely. Yeah, I don't think he'll get on the sand, because I believe they float with the dorsal fin just under the water. So probably around here. So that's as close as he's likely to get. So about the point at which the rock turns to sand. But it does mean that if you are trying to sail a raft here, the raft is going to get onto the beach with no problems whatsoever. And during a storm, the storm waves are going to gently diminish as they come towards the beach, instead of just stopping and then having this massive kind of broken mesh, a little bit of broken geometry as the sea kind of folds up as it gets to the coast. So we don't need the shark at all, not for the time being. This is probably as close as we'd ever want to be to a shark. Hello? Are you making an island? Yes, I am, Mr. Tiger. How can you tell? Oh, it's because I've got this funny thing on my face. Oh, this thing? Yep. No, well, that's a problem for you. So we're going to get rid of the tiger, because we don't need the tiger. We'll leave the shipwreck. Or will we? No, let's get rid of the shipwreck as well. Let's go to terrain. Let's hit display ocean to turn the ocean off. So while this is kind of cool, it does kind of have an effect on the size of our island. I do want an object, and I'm going to slap it down right in the middle. I'll go back and get that shipwreck 3A and just give us an idea of scale, because otherwise the world is very flat and empty. Now this island does look fairly small. I think with this kind of extended curve, the island is going to be quite tight if we tried to build everything we wanted on there. So what I'm going to do is hit up terrain again. I'm going to hit the middle button, the set height button, change the amount down the amount is the speed of the brush, essentially. So we'll do that. The target volume, or the target's value, is quite big. So target value is about how high the world is going to be, and that is an absolute value, and then the size is the size of the brush. So we take the size of the brush down, just give it a little click, and that is... So because the amount is quite low, it's not immediately pushing the world into nothingness. So I'm going to raise the target value up until it starts moving the other way. Wow, we're actually having to pull it quite far. And that means the beach is kind of raising up. Is that going to... Let's move it down by a couple of pixels. My only problem with the target value is that it's a bit tricky to use because you need to move it by a couple of pixels. I wish there was like a set of values for I don't know, like a division, a ruler or something along there, so you could actually say, yes, I'm going to set a value of 13.78, and then I know that all of my islands can be 13.78. I can crank the amount up now and just have that just really just like slam in. So that's kind of cool. We've now got this massive shelf on the outside, but we'll deal with that momentarily. I just want to make the island a bit bigger. Now, what I'm not going to do is push the island all the way to the very outer edge of the map. There's two reasons for that. First is we might raise the mesh up too far, and that would mean that things like players and animals can swim under the mesh. I think that's how that works, and I don't really want that to happen. The other problem is that if you have an island that's too big and you're trying to populate it with stuff, you might find that in doing that, the frames are going to suffer greatly because the amount of items you need on the island to kind of make it feel like an island are going to eat into processing power. So we've got this huge kind of seawall thing going on here. We raise up. What we'll do is we'll hit terrain, display ocean. Right, okay. So fine. We've got a bunch of wet sand. That's okay. We need to do something with this outer edge. But now this island is kind of... Well, it's a lot bigger than it was. Certainly. If we just kind of go back to this, remembering that all the settings are inherited between the brushes, and that catches us out every single time. That's a bit of an issue. So we're just trying to fill in all the gaps and just going to go around. I'm using Q and E to move the camera up and down, and WSAD to sort of move it forward, back, left, right. So W and D is to strafe around the island. WD? A and D is strafe around the island. W and S is to move in and move out, and then hold the right mouse button, and then literally just move the camera around. So that's cool. So we're sort of playing, moving this sort of around. We're essentially creating a giant pizza. That's exactly what we're doing. Although not, and this is very important, so listen up. Listen up, good heavens. We're not creating a pizza like what was once created in Granny's Bakery in the covered market in Oxford, because they were square. And I don't believe it exists anymore, which is something I found out last time I went to Oxford. We went there and it was like, I want pizza from... Oh, they're not there anymore. So that's the thing. What we're going to next do is bring this area up, because I don't want it that deep on the outside. So we are going to go back to the set height. We're going to drop the target value down significantly, and then we're just going to click here. So that's going to bring that up. It's kind of cool. Just going to bring this out. And the reason for doing this is we get a shallower sea. We can still have sea life on it, but if you take out a shark, then the shark is not going to immediately fall into the abyss. You'll still be able to swim down and pick it up. What I will do is just take another object. I'm going to take shipwreck 3A again, and then I'll hit terrain, hit the cog, hit display ocean, and see that the top of the shipwreck is actually poking out of the water. So it's just nice. That's exactly what we want. More by serendipity than planning. So we'll take objects. We'll just get rid of that. Yes, let's get rid of it. Hit back on terrain. Hit back on set height. and then just fill this area in. Now, by filling it in, I'm just keeping an eye on the very edge of the map. See, way down here, and if we move the camera in too close, it hits the bottom of the world. Now, I don't want this to raise up and just create a massive gap, because I don't want things going under there. That would be... Oh, it wouldn't be terrible. It's not the end of the world. The map would still function, but it's just me being me. I don't particularly like that. Change the size up. So we are using a larger brush, and then we'll just brush around the outside. Go around the outside like the Buffalo Girls, because that's exactly a reference that probably no one is going to get. So we'll brush around here. We've brushed into the island. That's not a problem. Some random randomizing the seashore is not a large issue. Most islands around here certainly don't have absolutely straight seashores or shorelines, should I say? That's probably the correct way of saying it, because the sea is a hugely powerful and vengeful being and will smash the shoreline into pieces, especially during the winter storms, which, looking on Monday, there's one scheduled. It's an autumn storm. It's the remains of there's a Hurricane Ophelia is going to swing by and then make riding a motorbike for a few days hilarious. By hilarious, I mean the gusting winds are going to be a little bit tricky to ride around with. So we now have this kind of pizza shape in the middle. We have raised the outside up a little bit, which is kind of cool. I do want to smooth off this very sharp edge. I think I might bring the island out a little bit more, because I think we have the space to do that. Let's just hit the cog, hit display ocean again. Yeah, I don't think it's too much of a problem. That's okay. Shark friends will still be able to swim around in it. If we do decide to put shark friends on a home island, I'm not entirely sure I want to do that. But let's hit display ocean again. Let's go back to terrain. Now, what do we need? Well, we want the smooth height. And if we notice, or make a note, the size is the same size, and so is the amount as the other brush. And that's inherited between all three brushes. I wish it wasn't. I wish there was a way of setting the brushes independently. But you get what you've got. So I'm going to change the amount down, and we're just going to play around with the edge to get rid of that very sharp, very unnatural cliff edge, a little sea cliff there. That's not a problem. So we'll go around the outside of the island, give it a single pass first of all, because it's exactly what we want to do. Now, this is a home island. We are going to... Initially, it's going to take a while to get this thing looking like an island, but once we've done that, then we can have a real play with all the things that we're going to have to live with, essentially. So unlike an island that we would create just to visit, or just, go and take some sharks out, not to dinner, just, hit them in the face with a rock until they stop trying to bite us. This island we're going to have to be with for a while. So any oddities, any foibles, we will have to live with. So we have to be a little bit wary of things. We're not going to be able to make do with this island. So, but at the same time, there can be some experimental things that we can play around with. I have a few ideas for what I want the island to look like, but essentially at the moment, it's just a case of get the thing sketched in. That's what you do. First of all, you sketch the island in, and then you play around with all the cool stuff afterwards. So we've got the outer ring kind of, it's very flat. What I'm going to do is change, I reached across the keyboard for the old Photoshop brush tools. I wonder what those two buttons do. Nope, they do not resize the brush. Square brackets in Photoshop resize the brush. Hey kids, do you know what I do for a living? Yep, it's use Photoshop. So we're going to use this smooth, and we're going to go crank that all the way up. There we go. Ooh, now we're cooking with gas. Let's move that up. Apparently, we're not supposed to be cooking with gas. The British government doesn't like that. They're like, "Ooh, could you stop cooking with gas? Because it's like harmful to the environment, no?" And I'm like, "All right, well, allow us to cook with something else then." I'm thinking uranium, and they're like, "Oh no, you cannot cook with uranium. That is highly illogical." And I'm like, calm down, Spock. I mean, seriously. It's like the 21st century. What can we cook with? Oh, you will use the power of the sun. And I'm like, have you ever tried to cook a tin of beans using only the power of the sun? It's really quite difficult. So there's a thing. There's a little segue into nothingness as we go around the island with the smoothing tool, just to give the beach a first pass. I haven't done anything with the middle of the island yet. We will. It always looks a bit bare bones at this point. I'm going to crank the amount up even further. There we go. In fact, let's crank it all the way up. And let's not forget when we click on the raise and lower and the set height, because otherwise we're going to just punch a hole straight to the middle of the planet if we click on any of the other tools at this point. So we're going round. We are smoothing the edge of the island. I will come back and do another pass on it, because we want it to be fairly smooth. We also want it to be, we don't want our raft to just slam against the seashore. Now, there's a few things we do need to make. Some estuaries. Estuaries are really, really good, or at least little inlets, because we want to be able to steam in with a raft full of loot and just kind of land. That'd be cool. And we don't have to kind of wait around or navigate too much stuff. We also want the edge of the island to look kind of interesting for us. So we've been round once already. Are we doing a second pass? Oh, looks like we're doing a second pass. I don't know why. I'm just talking to myself. Just sat in my living room wearing jeans and t-shirt in the middle of what month are we in now? October. Yeah, good fun. Good fun. It's going to get real cold here before long. Not Canada cold. Oh my word. I was thinking, I was having, shower thoughts. You're in a shower and you're thinking to yourself, you're like, oh, I did that thing one time and I'm really upset about it. I was once on the phone to D-Link support when I used to work in IT. We were setting up a new wireless system and we couldn't get it to work with legacy devices. It's like, this thing is not working with legacy devices. We spent all the money. D-Link, what's the problem? And the guy in London didn't know. We gave him all the details and the guy in London didn't know. And then it's just like, I'll pass you to India. And so I talked to a dude in India and they didn't know. So they said, we'll pass you to America. And I'm like, I've been around the world on this phone call. This is a bit weird. So I was talking to a dude in the North American continent, and again couldn't help me. He was about to pass me back to London, and we were just kind of chatting about stuff as you do when you're trying to get a wireless network to work. And I said, well, how's things in America? And he was like, ooh, but I'm Canadian, eh? And I felt really bad because I called him an American. He probably went home, had a bit of poutine, which if you don't know what poutine is, I think it's the Canadian national dish. It's basically cheese curds, which is cottage cheese, cheese curds over the top of chips with gravy. And he probably went home, had a bit of poutine, went to bed and cried. And I was just like, I did the worst thing. I called a Canadian American. I am a monster. So we've been around the island. We've smoothed off the inner area. It's still a bit of a shelf there. We've got this kind of plate on the outside, and then it sort of slopes down towards the abyss with a little dot in the middle of nowhere to tell us that is a little highlight, which will probably be on the sea, actually. Let's see, if we turn the sea back on by clicking on that. Boop. No. Can we see it under the water? Ooh, no. I mean, it's still terrifying, don't get me wrong. Right, so we have this kind of big old island of nothingness. We've got this area on the outside which we can use for sort of rocks and little islands and various bits and pieces, which is cool. We've got the area on the inside, which is, again, kind of cool. What's the slope like on the sea? On the sea wall. Let's go back to objects so we don't have this brush. Not too bad. Whoa. What is that? That sounds like... I don't know if you guys managed to hear that. There was something that happened on the outside. I think it was a car sort of trying to slam its brakes on, but it had no brake lining left, and it just metal on metal. That freaked me out, just momentarily. I don't know if you saw the jump. Right, okay, so we have the interior of the island we now need to make. This point is going to be... What? What? That looks like a dinosaur. There's a head up there. and then there's a big leg, and he's got tiny little Tyrannosaurus arms, and then like a tail that goes on the outside. Click on raise and lower, change the amount all the way down, because otherwise this would be a bit annoying, and then just raise that up. It's a dinosaur! Dinosaur Island! How cool is that? I didn't even notice that before. Oh well. There we go. Yeah, so we need to raise up the inside of the island. So that's kind of cool. We've got this huge shipwreck there. I mean, it kind of gives us an idea of scale on a featureless, barren terrain, which is fine. As we zoom out, the edge of the island gets a bit, yeah. So as we zoom out, everything looks a bit square on the outside of the island. That's not a problem. That's actually LOD, or level of detail. As we move further away, the LOD can be less because it allows the computer to render less. Fine. So we will grab the raise and lower height. Let's crank the size of the brush up, and then just start raising it up, just kind of randomly around the outside of the island. Now, what do I want to do? So I think I want the diagonals to be raised up more than the horizontals. That's kind of the idea for this island. I want the interior of the island to be raised up. So it's essentially a giant cross. And then I have 4 inlets. I think that's kind of, I haven't sketched anything down on paper or anything, just kind of had an idea in my mind over what we are kind of looking for. So we'll raise that up. Have we even got the space to do this? Don't know. The closer you put the camera to absolute vertical, so straight down or straight up, it kind of rotates funny around its axis. It really doesn't like it. So that's a thing from just video games in general, actually. Flight sims tend to avoid that by putting the camera on rails. So we are moving the terrain up, brushing it in, brushing. That's a lot of terrain. That's kind of butterfly effect here. Cool. So the island is kind of raised up in the middle. Do we need to put down some rocks and various bits and pieces just to see where things are going to be? Yeah, probably. Probably a good idea. We're pushing things out towards... I keep looking for Photoshop shortcuts for these brushes. And they're not there. They're not the same shortcuts. So we are pushing this out. We're going to go for a forested look. Ah, there we go. Camera's rotating funny because we're looking so far down. So yeah, we're going to go for a very heavily wooded look on the most of the island, and then we're going to put in some places where we can put a house. So that's kind of cool. But these inlets are very important, or at least very important to me. Do we want this kind of butterfly effect here? Not sure. Is this even going to work? Who am I? What am I doing? No, I don't know. Yes, so if we have objects and we go for rocks and we find the old cliff. Which one is it? Cliff 6? Or yeah, Cliff 6. Yep, Cliff 6. That is enormous. Don't be under any illusion. This thing is a huge cliff. So we hit, what was it? T and R. So T and R on the keyboard do actually switch between rotate, and so we got 3 options here. Transform, which is the one at the end to make it bigger, or scale. Is one's transform, one's rotate, and one's scale? I think that's how it works. I'm not sure. But yeah, one's grayed out, so you can't make things bigger or smaller. That's an interesting little feature there that's not actually doing anything. So we've got these rocks. We're going to put those in there. We've got some more rocks. What are we going to do with this side of the island? At this point, what I'm going to do is not actually... this stuff isn't going to be permanent. I'm just kind of putting it in. That's the wrong button. I want T. So push that T. Just kind of sketching out ideas for the outside of the island. What we can do is get rid of some of this stuff. So hit R to rotate, T down into the island. Once again, R T. It's just to give me something to... Oh, what's that? F. Oh, F is to focus on an object. That was some interesting little thing. T, and then down. So we slam these down into terrain. And the reason we slam this down into terrain is because if we bring this up, bring it close to the camera, press R to rotate. Whoa, there's nothing underneath. Yeah, for some reason, these meshes are open on the bottom. Maybe to save rendering? I don't know. I don't know why it would be open on the bottom. Not entirely sure. But we're going to hit R, T, put down, a little bit closer. So we've got this. It's kind of really rough terrain. And it's like, well, that's nothing like the old island. What are you doing? I was trusting you to make something really cool, but it looks like you're just going to make something that's very good. I don't know to like it. At this point, the island is going to look like a complete mess. It really is. What are we doing here? So we're going to hit up terrain. We're going to brush in this area here. Now, some areas do I want this to be... Do I want it to be... do I want it to be something I can actually talk about with my mouth? That would be good, wouldn't it? Yep. So are we having a river on this? Do we want a river running through the island? There does seem to be kind of a feature of our islands. We haven't got one currently. I need to find an area, a large beach, and then sort of forge inland a little bit. We're going to take an object, and we're going to take a structure. And we're going to find one of the shipwrecks. Here we are. Shipwreck, where are you? Shipwreck 7. This one that'll do. We are going to zoom in by literally just moving the camera in. There we go. Hit R to rotate. Move that round. Press T. Is that the one that I want? Is that going to work for us? Let's go and have a look at these. 7A is a wooden boat. That's nothing much. That's a very pointed hull. What about this one? So I'm kind of looking to see if we can actually detail the beaches with various bits of shipwreck. That's a very interesting hull. Let's get rid of that. Let's keep this. Right, okay. That'll do. That'll do, donkey. That'll do. Also, that'll do pig. One's referenced in... That'll do pig. That's babe. And that'll do donkey. That is... Oh my god! Shrek. It's Shrek, isn't it? So we've got this, yeah. So with the shipwrecks and the various bits and pieces, you can actually use them in ways that are not intended to be used. You can just sort of slam them into terrain because they're not a physics object. They'll just kind of sit there, which is fairly cool. And you can do, various bits and pieces with them. What we're going to do here is actually make a little estuary. What we're going to do is also get rid of that. You can go away. Thank you very much. What do we do? What do we want to do with the interior of the island? I'm not too sure. I do want the beaches. This might be a long one, lads, ladies. I'm not sure. We have the terrain brush again. Zoom in a little bit, and let's change the size down. Set lower, make sure the amount is all the way down. Cool. Whoa, that's still just carving a hole through the terrain. Just want a bit of water showing. There we are. So what we'll do is we'll just keep clicking on the brush, I'm afraid. Straight inland. There's a shame there's no particle generators for like water, so we can't make streams and things. That'd be kind of cool. So you could actually have what is that? That's interesting. You zoom up. There was a just momentarily there was like a foam texture on it. That was kind of cool. What we're going to do is just make sure we've got some liquid on the beach, and literally the way you do that is just push the terrain down until water starts to show, because the water runs under the whole world. Yeah, we might actually do a little stream through the island. I know it's a cliche thing, we've done it plenty of times before, or at least have it running partway into the island. What we can do is actually just have it, there we go. We'd probably use a set height would be better for a stream, but we're kind of, yeah, look, very momentarily, there was sea foam being rendered there. That's kind of cool. It's kind of nice. I'm not going in any particular direction. I'm just kind of looking at the terrain, bearing in mind that it's going to make very sloped sides, very steep sides, and I don't really want that to happen. So we're just kind of pushing this stuff out. What we'll do is push this stuff out as well. So we're just going to put it down. Probably actually raise it. So hit raise and just close that up a bit, and then hit lower again. So we kind of hit lower again. Come on, Dada. So we're just kind of pushing a stream through the middle of the island. What I don't want to do is really go for a full-on river at this point. I'm going to go to the set height actually. Set height. Well, what's this up to? Let's change the size of it. Boop. To quite small, but not that small because that's ridiculous. That is pushing down slightly, so that's kind of cool. The amount is way down, so if we just brush backwards and forwards, we can always... how far down is that going to go? I think that is the outer edge of the island. Right, okay, so we pop it up by a couple of pixels. And again by a couple of pixels. Yeah. So it doesn't need to be blue, it just needs to be wet. That's the thing, it's a stream. We can decorate it with rocks and various bits and pieces. It's going to come up too much, so down by 2 pixels? Whoa, more pixels? More pixels? This is why I want some sort of measuring device here. Or at least it's like a snap, like a granular, something you can actually feel, like a so we go up by 1. Is that 1 pixel? Yeah, that's about right. We're going to need to smooth this off anyway, which is going to remove a lot of the depth. But it means we can cut a stream through here. We'll kind of soften all this off. It's very, very deep at the moment, which is not ideal. Yeah, it's a little too deep. But we can always decorate it with various bits and pieces. Put a load of trees up. It'll be nice. It'll be lovely. Complicated. Kind of complicated in the way that cheese isn't. So let's just push this further in. The amount is really quite far down in terms of how powerful the brush is. I don't want to crank it up and then just carve like butter through the island. I'd rather be using a very soft brush at this point. So it's taken a little while to go through. But it also means you can kind of randomly change direction and do various bits and pieces. Fine. The center of the island is kind of nice having it raised up. It might have a height discrepancy between the two sides. So if we do hit raise and lower, change the size of the brush up, and then just kind of push all this down along with. So we can kind of very carefully push it all down. And we're doing it carefully so that we're not actually just slamming the world into the molten magma of the Earth's mantle, which is, if you didn't know, the planet you live on, everything is very, very hot beneath your feet. There is a mantle, there is a crust, so you guys live on the crust. The mantle is the outer, is it the outer edge of, or the outer area of the Earth's molten interior. And it's molten for a couple of reasons, partly because there's a huge amount of pressure pushing down on the rock underneath the surface, underneath this crust, and partly because of gravitational forces. So things like the sun's gravitational force and the planet's own gravitational force, that has an effect on the planet, which is why Jupiter's moon Io has a lot of volcanic activity, because it passes through the gravitational field of Jupiter, and that imparts energy on the small moon, causing volcanoes and a lot of magma and stuff. Whereas Europa, which is an ice moon, is in fact completely the opposite, because it is so chill and relaxed, it is basically frozen. So we are going to be pushing the outer edge of the stream. Incidentally, the stream is going to give us an area which we can kind of walk along or next to. It's going to give a focal point, an area of interest. That's kind of cool. I don't want to move this down so low it actually becomes part of the stream itself. We've got this hill here. We might have to do stuff like this. We're going to have to do something with. What I probably will do is go away once this island has been sort of sketched out. Is go away and have this in the back of my mind, and I'll be like, what can I do about the middle? What can I do about the exterior, and all that sort of stuff? And it'd be like, all right. So if you don't rush to make an island, if you do it over several days, and you get the main island sketched out, which is kind of what we're doing at the moment, you can actually come back at various stages and be like, yeah, actually, I've had an idea for this, because your subconscious is actually a very, very powerful thing. A lot of people think, no, you have to focus on one thing. You have to think about everything all at once, and then get the job done. But no. If you have a problem, any sort of problem in life, kind of let your subconscious work on it for a bit, and then you can come back. So we're just kind of playing with the edge of this stream, and probably spending too much time on the stream actually. We will hit terrain, we will hit the smoothing option, and then we'll just allow us to smooth that up. And it's going to change the depth of it, which is not something we necessarily want, but we can come back and we can kind of dig the channel out a little bit more and all that sort of stuff. So it's not a problem. In terms of the other outside of the island, well, I mean, we're going to get rid of these cliffs. It's just kind of an idea. So these things are kind of an idea. It gives us a visual representation of what the heck's going on with our world. So what we're going to do here is probably the same thing. We might raise stuff up and lower it. So we're basically still sketching things in. So we'll just that's lower. Oof. Well. Unfortunately, the mount was actually quite far down, so that's okay. We will sketch in this area here. The interior of the island is quite busy. What I want to do is probably have an area which we can put the house. So maybe get rid of this and actually have another sort of large inlet here. And then have like a raised up area here. So have this entire area raised up. That might be a good idea. So we are going to think on the fly. Let's get rid of that. Yes. Good. Hit terrain. Change the amount. Change the size. Cool. Raise this area up real quick. There we go. There we go. Ah, lovely. In fact, what we could do is actually raise that area up real nice and then have it slope down towards this other bay over here. There we go. Bearing in mind this area is now we're probably going to have to put cliffs and stuff here. It's not a problem. We can use the set heights and use the sharper brush. There we go. To set the height, so we change the size down. Change the amount doesn't need to be up. This needs to be changed. There we go. There we go. And we can just sort of line it with cliffs and various bits and pieces. That is nice. There we go. Whoa. Real fast, actually. That's kind of cool. So we can put the house up real high. And then we'll put something up here. I don't know, storage or something. And then this area here we can kind of punch in. So let's change that down until we get sort of close to wet sandy level. Knock it up a bit. Just kind of playing with pixels here. Boop. There we go. There we go. Wow, that's exactly what I wanted. So we'll punch this in. It's still this very sharp brush. So we get this very, very hard edge of the island, which we can then dress with cliffs and various bits and pieces. We're going to punch this in all the way over here. So I want quite a large estuary. Yeah, that's good. I mean, it's kind of odd, but it's good. This cliff here is acting as a nice little marker. So we haven't actually planned anything. We're just kind of seeing what takes our fancy. So punch that all the way back. You can actually add some water here. So this area will be water, and then we can just kind of normalize this area on the outside. So we can raise it up and we'll have like a sandy beach or something. That'd be kind of cool. So if we hit, if we hit smooth height, crank the amount up and then just smooth this off. Crank it up again. Maximum crankage. There we go. Still a hard edge brush. I want the soft edge brush. I want the size to be a lot bigger than it currently is. Brilliant. In fact, we could probably do with smoothing off a lot of this island because we've been over just kind of brushing it in. It's very, there we go, a lot softer. That's nice. That's actually nice. Just have a little look. Yeah, it actually, that is real deep. That looks a lot like, it looks like a lot like a cove. Any given cove from where I live. There's a lot of coves around here, which is a small inlet that doesn't really go anywhere. It's like a beach. I'm just gonna use this real hard smoothing tool just to give the islands a single pass. There we go. Making sure we're not actually brushing it over our stream over there. Good. So this has, it's starting to take shape. So we've got this kind of area here. We've got this little inlet here. We're probably going to do stuff to here. Might actually ease this back over here as well. So let's go set height. Ooh. Okay, that was a lot hard. Oh yeah, it's because the amount's cranked all the way up. Ah, you need to remember that. Oh, it's a little bit crazy, no? So we'll do that. Push that in. Do we need a lot of beach? Not really, but it's kind of cool to have. Right, and then what I'll probably do is push this out here. Okay, fine. So the amount is down. Let's raise. Wow, the amount's still really quite high. All right, let's do this. We've got the soft brush, so I'll push that out just kind of into the ocean a little bit. We can come and smooth it off later. Let's raise that up as well. Good, good. Then obviously just crank that up and just smooth it off. That's yeah, that's kind of odd, but okay. What we might do is just lower all of that. That wasn't exactly what I wanted to do, and there's no lower. Because the amount was all the way up. All right, now, ladies. That's why I want the old tool to be just slightly modified. That'd be kind of cool. And as a result of that, we've got this weird little, you know what? I kind of like that. We're gonna make sure that the amount is lowered. We're gonna raise that, so drop the amount down again. Yeah, that's actually real nice. It's this little thing here. Put some cliffs or something around there. Yeah, all right. Serendipity, I think we call that. We'll hit lower, just lower that down a little bit. We can probably set high actually. Yeah, there we go. We'll do that at a later date. So we've got this kind of weird area. I'll have this as a walk through. So walkway. We'll put some cliffs and stuff here. But for the time being, this bit here needs to be a little bit. So we hit lower, hit the amount way down. Size is all right. Although we could stand with being a little bit smaller. And then just literally punch in what are we doing? Like a river here. In fact, I'll use the harder brush next to the cliff so we don't actually accidentally lower the height of land. Cool. So we'll punch that in. Got some rock showing in the bottom, not a problem. And then we'll just push this out here. Yeah. That's kind of cool. That's nice. So I've got this huge inlet, which is kind of nice. But also the cliffs, if we change the size of this, cliffs are going to... Ooh, it is going down. It is definitely going down. We use the hard edge brush so we don't accidentally punch accidentally take this land, which is behind the cliff, and actually lower it down into the sea. This is raise and lower, not set height. Tell you what, we could probably use set height for this. Let's do that. Is that going to do it? It is. It's a little bit too low. Let's move it up a bit. Change the amount. Boop. Whoa! It's way too far down. But we can always bring that up. Ugh. It's just playing with the pixels once more. All right. No, that's too low. Too low. Move it up by 2 pixels. Move it down by 1 pixel. There. Oof. We did it! So I just want to make sure that this is kind of lowered. We'll use the raise and lower afterwards. There we go. And then we can use lower. We can use a soft brush and we can just kind of... The amount is still cranked all the way up. Dude, I know. What's going on? I really wish these sliders were separated. So where is my brush? There it is. Still kind of a very small amount. You just have to play around with the brush settings. It's a little bit tricky. So we'll do this, and then we'll push that out. So we'll just push this sand out. We're still in the sketching in period of this island, so it's still going to be looking a little bit not brilliant. But it'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll look real nice when we're done. Real nice. So we've got this, and then we can just push this down here. So we can have the water just continue slightly inland. It's kind of snaking around. Come on. You're going to get in there? We'll come back to that at a later date. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. So I'm not happy with all this being way too steep. Because if you come along here, it's just like, oh, the sand wouldn't be there unless the land was actually made of sand, like a sand dune or something. But we have the start of a very curious island. So we've got a little sort of watery inlet here, which we could do a lot more to this beach, I think. We've got this area here, which is kind of raised up to the height of a cliff. And we've got this water coming in here. And we've got some areas which we need to look at on the other side. We've got this little island, which we created through serendipity, but we're going to leave that lined, connected to the main land. We're going to need to smooth all of this off. Probably some cliffs and various bits and pieces here. What we could do is probably lower this entire side of the island and just have it more of a tropical island on this side. So what we'll do is raise this up. So this is set height. No, we want the amount down. We want lower. Okay, so we'll just push in there. Push. And that'll give us distinctive areas of the island, like zones of the island. So this zone is kind of a sandy biome, I guess, and the other island is other side of the island is all raised up. So that'll be the raised up side of the island, and then we'll have an interior which probably stay raised up. I think that'll be fine. We need to kind of work out where we want to put things like the farms and the house, where the house is going to live and all that sort of stuff. So we're pushing this down. We're going to need to smooth it off. So we'll crank that all the way up and just kind of smooth this whole area off. It's okay if there's like water on the edge of the island. I don't mind that. But we are going to sort of move things up and down. So it's basically just getting the terrain in at this point, and then just going back and smoothing everything off, and then playing around with the terrain, and then smoothing it off, and playing around with the terrain and smoothing it off. So it's, it never hurts to use a really large soft brush with a high smoothing amount. Cool. So we started off with a very small island. We started off with it was a very small island. We pushed out the top area. We've got a load of markers down, these things here. So it's kind of different to how we did it last time. But we've got these little areas of detail that we're starting to push in. So we've got like a little estuary area. We've got a little stream area. We've got definitive or very distinctive zones to the island. We still haven't done the old thing of pushing a stream through the island, which might give us some problems. I might rethink that. I don't know. Or maybe not. Maybe I'll just sort of do something here and not quite join it up or something. Yeah. So as a start to the building of a new home island, this is good. It's good. So what I'm going to do now is save it. So I'm going to just hit escape and hit save. And then we come up with a name for our new island. Now, what we kept referring it to as Hobbs Rest, but we never actually officially named it. So I will do that now. BBES. I don't need to capitalize it. So Hobbs Rest and do we need to capitalize that? I'm trying to type around the old microphone stand. It's really difficult. A new home island. We're not making a description for a load of people. We're just doing it for ourselves. So we'll just hit save. There's no preview image, and then just hit resume, and we go back here. So what we're going to end up with is something with a lot of verticality. So there is a bit of verticality on this side of the island. We're going to end up with a lot of inlets and various bits and pieces. So when we come home, we're probably going to end up slamming the raft into one of these inlets. Yeah, this is going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. I'm kind of interested to see how this is going to end up. Like I said, I don't plan these things beforehand. Nothing's sketched out. You just kind of do something, then you go away, then you have a little sleep, then you come back, and then you have another little play. So I'm going to call it there. If you're liking this and really want to see how this thing is going to end up, then I would definitely say drop a like, drop a subscribe, drop a cheeky little... No, like it. Like will help. If you don't want to do anything, but you do want to help the series, just a little thumbs up. That's kind of cool. That's enough interaction to help it be found elsewhere. Share the video, because that might also get it seen by other peeps. And you know what? I will catch you guys next time.